Hi, everybody. It's 5:30. I'd like to call to order the October 13th meeting of the Urbana Human Relations Commission. And can we have a roll call, please?
Carol Bradford, Stacy Burnett, Asuko Kanazi Leggett, Peter Resnick,
Here.
Francis Rigberg,
Here.
Julie Robinson Schaefer,
Here.
and
Okay.
I believe Asuko just joined as an
Oh,
attendee.
excellent. Yay. Okay. Wonderful. We do have a quorum. Hurrah. But it's only temporary. We're going to have to get our business done by 6 o'clock because Julie has to leave us at that time. So I will take a motion for approval of the agenda and then suggest a change to it.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with a change of moving public participation after new business.
That would work very well. So everything that we need to vote on will be handled prior to that. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Julie. So we have motion and a second for approval of the agenda with the movement of public participation to after new business. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Asuko Kanazi Leggett,
Yes.
Peter Resnick,
Yes.
Francis Rigberg,
Yes,
Julie Robinson Schaefer,
Yes.
excellent. The agenda is approved as changed. Second, we have our approval of the minutes of our September 8th meeting. Can we have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Thank you, Julie. Anyone will second that?
I'll second.
Asuko, thank you. We have moved in second to approve the minutes of our September 8th meeting. Can we have a roll call? Oh, is there any discussion or anybody have anything they want to change there or add? Okay, we'll have a roll call vote, please.
Asuko Kanazi Leggett,
Yes.
Peter Resnick,
Yes.
Francis Rigberg,
Yes,
Julie Robinson Schaefer,
Yes.
excellent. The minutes are approved. Next, we move on tonight to unfinished business, and we have our name change. Everyone received a copy of the resolution, which we can, if we approve that, it can then be sent on to the city council and the mayor, and they will do what they need to do to make that change by making changes in the ordinance. I hope everyone's had a chance to look at the resolution, and perhaps we should have a motion to approve it, and then we can discuss that.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Okay, thank you, Julie. Do we have a second, please?
I'll second.
Okay, and Asuko seconds. Do we like the motion? The motion would change us to be the Human Rights Commission.
Yes. Oh, Pete, looked like you raised your hand.
Oh, did you?
No,
Okay.
that's quite all right. Go right ahead.
No, I thought it was pretty well written and good explanation. So,
Excellent. Yes.
and the point of not having to change the acronym is great. Fewer changes.
It
That
turns out
helps city ordinance code stuff too.
Okay, we don't have to do the work. We just have to tell them what we want. Okay.
And we all hope that the mayor and the city council agree. We have every reason to believe they would, but it's entirely up to them. We are just resolving that they ought to.
Exactly. Okay. I guess we can go ahead and have our roll call vote on that.
Asuko Kanazi Leggett,
Yes.
Peter Resnick,
Yes.
Francis Rigberg,
Yes,
Julie Robinson Schaefer,
Yes.
excellent. We have approved our name change. Hopefully this will be the last meeting of the Human Relations Commission. we will, and we will then be the Human Rights Commission.
You
Thank
are
you,
very
Walter.
optimistic about the speed with which the wheels of
Oh.
changing ordinances turn.
Well, like when I changed my name back to my maiden name, I just went ahead and used it. But anyway, as long as you're not trying to pull any fraud, you're okay.
Right.
Okay, so this, we're doing well here. The next thing we have, and as far as the resolution, I think, can we just send that on to, I think Carla was looking into this, and just send that on to them? We don't have to appear or make a case particularly, I wouldn't think.
I'll find out, but I don't believe
Okay.
so.
Okay. It's not the most controversial thing we've ever done. So we have now to move on to our workforce, our EEO workforce approvals. And we
Okay.
have- Yeah, we have nine of them tonight, I believe. And we have it all nicely summarized. Did you want to say something, Carla, about these? No, okay, fine. So we have them, and A&R Mechanical, Barbara and D. Adley, Chris and Company, Cross Construction, Voigts Contractors, E&J, GM Sipes, Siemens, and Sublon. I'll entertain a motion for some approvals here for 1 or 2 years, or possibly even 6 months if you think it warrants it, just for discussion purposes.
Before a motion, can I ask a question of
Yes.
staff about a couple of these?
Sure.
So A&R Mechanical, I believe, has come up before us before. I believe they are one of our, they have a union shop, and that's part of their issue with hiring problems. Can you confirm what we've done with them before? Do you know what the last approval was?
I do not know what their last approval was.
Give me just a couple of minutes. I'll see if I can find it for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's in there.
And the
What is
other
it?
one I had a question about was Siemens Industries. I saw harassment policies in there. I didn't see in particular an equal opportunity policy with regard to hiring. There was lots of stuff on equal opportunity within, the work environment, and that people would be given equal opportunity, in their, once they have the job. But I didn't see anything about their hiring practices. Yeah, go ahead.
I thought I had seen that. Then let me pull them up, because I thought I had saw that. Because in my notes I had that they had a thorough EEO. So let me check, make sure.
Yeah, and maybe I missed it. That's possible. And our cutoff number is 15 employees.
Yes,
Yes.
Okay, so they're
there are two here
Sweet.
that, yeah,
squeaked over the line.
yeah. Well,
So in regards to the A&R Mechanical, the last certification that I am finding right now was 6 months in 2019.
Got it. All right, that answers that question for me. And as far as Siemens,
I'm looking it up right now.
yeah, I'm going to get it in front of me as well.
In content 4, it does say that the company will take affirmative action to ensure equal employment opportunities and the fulfillment of this policy as required by law.
Right, but then it goes on, and if you read the scope section, planning and implementing the company's affirmative action program, and for providing leadership, that the VP of Human Resources is required to do those things. But we don't actually have what the affirmative action program is. And then when it says all company managers are responsible for supporting this program and all company employees are encouraged to help ensure corporate-wide compliance, the company cannot stop harassment unless it knows it's occurring, which sounds like it's back to the harassment policy, not a hiring policy. And the policy name stated at the top is harassment-free workplace. So, I mean, they are a Bloomington-based operation. I mean, this is obviously part of Siemens, which is a huge worldwide company,
Yes.
but a small office in Bloomington. But Bloomington has, reasonable diversity in their population, and their company statistics are sadly lacking. And I'd like to at least know that they've got an actual hiring affirmative action policy in place before it. Do we know what the timing of this particular contract is?
They have building automation upgrades. I'm not sure when they're going to start that.
Do we think
I'm not aware of the particulars either.
Do we think a delay of a month is going to be a problem? We don't know.
We don't know. It's the commission's decision. If you would like to, we can delay it for the next month if you like. I mean, it's totally up to you guys.
Or we could have a 6-month approval.
We could, and in the meanwhile, ask for more information about their hiring practices.
All right.
Do we need to move to approve first so we can then have all this discussion? Is that?
Yeah, I did want to at least ask the question before I made a motion.
Yeah, I just was wondering. I'm like, I don't want to get too deep in the weeds here.
Right. No, that's okay.
Let's have a motion then.
Okay.
Something
So,
reasonable.
I will make a motion as follows. I would like to approve A&R Mechanical for 6 months, Barber and Diatley for 1 year, Chris and Company for 2 years, Cross Construction for 2 years, EJ Equipment for 2 years, Foyt's Contractors for 6 months, GM Sipes Construction for 2 years, Siemens Industry for 6 months, and Sublon Construction for 2 years.
Okay.
Everybody get that?
What was it for EJ?
EJ, I had for 2 years.
Really?
Yep. Is
That's
that
the only
right?
one that surprises me.
Oh, well, why did I put down 2 years for that? Oh, I know why I put down 2 years for that. Yes, and that is surprising, but I can explain in my motion during discussion, and glad to take a friendly amendment if we need to change that.
Okay. Can we have a second, please?
I will second.
Okay. Was moved and seconded as Pete described. So let's now discuss.
So let me explain the weird ones, and there's a couple.
Yeah.
So for EJ Equipment, I would normally go, oh my, those numbers are terrible, except EJ Equipment is located in Manteno, Illinois, and those numbers actually are exceedingly reflective of where they're located. And so I have a hard time, unless we have feeling Manteno is pretty far out from Kankakee. They're in Kankakee County, but unless we have a feeling that they're the kind of place that's going to be hiring from Kankakee itself, my figuring was their workforce is just simply not going to change all that much. If people feel that we should give them 1 year and send them a letter and say, those numbers didn't look great, but we understand you're in a particular place. Could you give us an explanation to confirm that, it's, whatever it is. I'm okay with that, but I'm not sure I see the point.
Well, presumably there are a good number of women.
Well, right. Women is a different sort of issue, and I agree. And actually, that's why I gave the recommendation I did for Barber and Diatley, because otherwise in their total numbers, they are reasonably diverse, but their female population is 1 out of 17 total employees. And that seems a little strange to me anyway. I agree that with regard to EJ only having 11 out of 51, women is not great at all, but it's not completely inconsistent with what we see for lots of vendors that we deal with. So again, I'm happy to take a different tack and a friendly amendment if one is desired, but I'm not sure we're going to get very far with that. The two 6 month of A&R and FOITs, I propose 6 months because if not before 6 months, I think it's getting near time that we have to, as a commission, have a discussion of the union issue. And I want to get them approved, but I don't want to forget about that we have to deal with the union thing.
Exactly. I mean, we've been focusing on something else this year, so we really couldn't move on that. But
Yep.
I think it might make a good focus for next year to go into employment, and particularly the union issue, or at least including that. So I'm good with that. I would say that the only reason I would want to make EJ not a 2-year is because that's really kind of a you're doing fine. And I'm not sure, we don't want to give them at least a little nudge to.
And say, do better on women. And if there are
Yes.
minorities in the surrounding area, please do
Yeah.
make your attempts.
So I would change that in a very friendly way to 1 year.
I will take that as a friendly amendment if that is okay with my seconder.
I am fine with the amendment. I
Okay.
continue to second the motion.
Okay. That's good. Any other discussion on this? No.
I was just all the highlights. I was like, oh my goodness, this is just not a good.
Yeah,
The numbers didn't look great.
they never really are.
I know.
Right?
I still hold out hope each month that, we're going to find
Right.
some.
Well, that's what next year hopefully will be all about, taking a good look at that. Okay, so what's on the floor is 6 months for A&R, 1 year for Barber and Diatley, 2 years for Chris and Company, 2 years for Cross, 6 months for Foyts, 1 year for EJ, sorry, 2 years for GM Sipes, 6 months for Siemens, I still want to call it that, and 2 years for Sublime Construction. I believe that's the motion on the floor. Is there any other discussion before we go to a vote? Okay, let's have a roll call vote on those.
Asuko Kanazi Leggett,
Yes.
Peter Resnick,
Yes.
Francis Rigberg,
Yes,
Julie Robinson Schaefer.
Yes.
excellent, that passes. So Julie is free to go. We have done our quorum business, but I think we've done it. So now we have public input. Let me see.
There's no one in the list.
Oh, wow. Should we be worried? We're not popular anymore. Okay, excellent. So we will move on to the officer's report. Carla. Carla?
Oh,
Yeah, go ahead.
I couldn't see anymore, and I wanted to make sure I could see everyone.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody. The housing case that was brought to you before the commission, it's nearing a close. So hopefully by next meeting, I will have an update of closure with that one. We haven't had any informal complaints or issues. I am receiving a lot of calls for a variety of needs that do not pertain to the OHRE, but I do refer them to other entities. Formal complaints, none. Community activity or activity in the office. The letter to registered landlords was sent out on September 17th. We had 860 letters go out via email, and an additional 200 letters were mailed through U.S. Postal on September 22nd. 22 emails were undeliverable, and 2 have been returned undeliverable. We'll update the spreadsheet for that. 4 landlords have sold the property. So they called me. I got a lot of phone calls from landlords with, why am I getting this? What happened? Do you have a case against me? And I just let them know that it was an information letter only introduction, and to let them know what the commission has been focusing on. Most of the responses were positive, and assuring that they are all in compliance with the ordinance. That's what they were sharing with me. Letters to landlord that have verified violations, including criminal background check on applications, stating the exclusion of Section 8 voucher as income. Those letters will go out soon. I'll give you more information at the end of my report. Follow-up questions from last meeting. I spoke with the FOIA officer concerning the privacy and confidential EEO information received from businesses. There is no concern with the public body receiving the information because the commission does not publish or disseminate the information. If a FOIA request were to come in, the notation on the document satisfies the requirement for not releasing the document, and that's when it said confidential. Reminder that the percentage information can be found by clicking the current month's tab. And I can ask Tamara, but Tamara, she's updated that information on the current businesses for approval renewal, and that you'll see. So are you guys seeing the spreadsheet where at the bottom it has the companies, and then it has the different months? You should be able to find there what their previous certification was. I reviewed the Human Rights Ordinance, and the Human Relations Commission is used throughout. So could we have the resolution? And I didn't know if I could ask this while you guys were talking about it. Could we have the resolution presented to the council, include a blanket statement to update all references to Human Rights Commission to just make it formalized training and professional development for myself. Attended the Welcoming Centers Action Plan release event on September 15th. And to go back to the second letter, where I've been working on that letter, focused on the known violations, and we'll be ready to send that out. But that letter includes fines language. And so I need to know if the commission has developed the structure for fines, because I'm anticipating I will be fielding questions about it. And they, I can foresee landlords asking what kind of fines, when fine. So if you guys have a structure, if I can have that. If not, can we develop a structure so that I can answer those questions? And that's all that I have on my for this month.
Thank you very much, Carla. Pete, did you want to say something?
Yeah, one question about something you mentioned at the top. You said you'd been getting a bunch of phone calls of people that aren't really for your office. Is there a particular kind that you're getting most of, or I mean, it's just I lost my job.
Well, some believe that I had one that believed that it was discrimination or harassment, but as she spoke further and I got an understanding, it wasn't. I think human relations, it's everything under humanly possible is the thought process.
So at least on the surface, it could conceivably be, but once you dig down, it's not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I take all calls because, again, you never know.
Yeah.
And most of the time it's sending them to someone else, which is fine.
As far as the fine structure goes, I mean, the way the ordinance anticipates this, it would come to a hearing and then we would decide a fine, on the spot, and, well, not on the spot, but, as part of our deliberations. And it's a maximum $500 fine per incident. So we'd have to figure out what constitutes an incident, and then figure out, given that, what fine do we want to give for that particular kind of incident? I don't know that we can predetermine that, but I suppose we could come up with some guidance for our what do you call it, hearing rules that would describe, what we would plan to do in those kinds of instances, and have it prepared just in case one or more of these has to go to hearing.
Does it have to go to hearing? Because in the ordinance, it just says whether the commission finds them in violation.
I think the
So-
only way we can find is through a hearing, right?
I see.
There's no other mechanism for us to find that. So, I've been thinking about this sending the letter out kind of idea as, our officer giving landlords a heads up. This sure looks like a violation, and I might be bringing it to the commission as a complaint, because the officer is allowed to do that of their own volition. Perhaps you'd like to fix this before I have to make a probable, cause finding and all that. But I think once we get past that point and they say, no, I'm leaving it, then I think Carla would have to bring it to us as a hearing, as a full complaint.
As the letter stands now, they're given a certain amount of time to correct this. And then they were going to look again and see if they did. So do you see it, Pete, that if we find them in violation after 30 days after they've been told that they have this kind of language and it's against the ordinance, would it at that point a hearing be initiated? Is that what you would?
I would think, just the way the ordinance is structured, that after that 30 days, Carla should go back and sort of initiate the formal investigation process, which should take very little time at all, because most of the information she's already dug up and
that's looking at and seeing if it's still there.
Seeing if it's still
Okay.
there. And then there's a process of, sending the complaint to the respondent and saying, this complaint has now been filed. What is your response to this complaint? Maybe do some sort of, conciliation agreement, which would then be reported to the commission. And then if that did not solve the problem, there are maximum times in the ordinance, but I don't think there are minimum times. So as fast as Carla can turn that around is I think reasonable. If that doesn't solve the problem, a short formal hearing shouldn't take all that long, given what's at stake here and what the evidence is.
So you see it could be kind of a streamlined process.
I think so.
Mhm.
I think so.
Okay.
At some point, if we discover that this is an ongoing kind of issue,
Mhm.
we may want to go back to the city council and say, hey, for these particular kinds of things, if the officer independently verifies, maybe this should be a separate ordinance violation with a $50 fine or something like that, or
Yes.
part of, the city code with regard to rentals.
I mean, it's pretty cut and dried. When you have something on your application that asks about criminal record, that's a very clear
That you're
violation. I don't think a
discriminating.
hearing needs to be held, It
Right.
should be something that's more like a ticketable offense or that's finding, in my
Well-
opinion, but maybe it's not a legal finding.
And this is the thing, is in cases for like a traffic violation, you have a police officer who has certain, is sworn to do certain things and enforcing the law in a particular way. And you can go to a judge if you disagree, so you can have that hearing.
Right.
But the HRO role or HREO role has never been that of a police officer.
Right.
So
But maybe it's more like a housing,
exactly.
violation.
Maybe, yeah. So
like,
I think we should go through the process, and if it starts to look like it's bogging down, maybe revisit the question.
okay.
Should be.
All
Real
right.
quick question, I know Carla's doing her due diligence and sending the letters and giving them the opportunity to kind of cure, but once we officially notify them. Is that what the letter is? Or is it more of a, we found this and now we're notifying you, you have 30 days or 15 days or whatever to remove that before the fines or the hearing or whatever? I guess that I'm just curious what the actual process is.
Carla, do you want to?
How's the letter written right now?
Well, the
Uh,
letter,
Oh,
Go
you
ahead.
sent that to us, didn't you? Aren't I smart?
It's changed a little bit.
it has changed, but I'm thinking we're going to need to, based on the conversation tonight, I'm going to have to change it again. To answer your question, Ms. Robinson Schaefer, it does notify them that we have found these violations, and it does give them 30 days. It doesn't say you have 30 days. It says we will check back in 30 days. So I'm thinking we're going to have to reword this in order to satisfy the conversation for today. And it does talk about after 30 days of receipt of this letter, we will check. So I'll get it more in alignment with the conversation tonight.
I think we need to be explicit that not just that we're checking in 30 days, that we will be, rechecking in 30 days. And if you are found to still be in violation at that point, whatever the process is, to make it very clear.
That'll be a
Here
formal-
are the next steps.
Yeah.
And I think the next step
So
we should use is probably a formal complaint will be filed with the
Yes, exactly. That's what it looks like to me now.
the HREO and yeah.
And then we'll treat it like any other complaint, but it'll be brought by the officer.
And if you want to say something about the fine, you can simply say the maximum penalty under the ordinance is $500 per occurrence, and let them worry about what we're
Yes,
gonna
that's,
do.
yeah. I think we need to be, I'm very big on transparency. Let's be transparent on the process. Let's be transparent on what the potential ramifications for not fixing it might be. Maybe that'll help nudge some along. Maybe some will just say, we don't care, fine away.
it
Mhm.
does say you will be subject to a fine per ordinance section 12-101 fines, which states, and then it states the actual
Okay,
ordinance.
Yeah,
good.
I think it's just the process that isn't made clear.
Yeah.
I just want the process to be clear on, here's the action we have noted that you need to take. If you don't take it, here are the next actions that will be taken.
Very good. Very good. Okay, and Julie, if you need to leave, we can.
But it was
Thank
good
you so
conversation.
much.
I didn't want to miss it.
I know, it is good.
All right, well, thank you. I'll see you
Okay.
all next month.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Goodbye, Julie.
So, and by the way, thank you, Carla. This sounds like it's going in exactly the right direction, and I'm very glad you're cruising through on this. This is looking good.
Very good. Okay, I guess, does anyone have an announcement that they would like to make? Announcement? Okay, I think we've concluded our business. So thank you, everyone. It was great and productive, and I'll see you next time. The meeting is adjourned.